Pastor, for inviting me here today to share with you the Word of God. Happy to see you. I haven't been here for a while, 1.5 years or 2 years, I don't remember. I'm happy to see you all, some of my close friends, especially my mate and my helper, Jane here. She can come and attend the service today. Um, the song beautiful, the trio. God is a living water. Each one of us get blessed by it. Today, my topic about thorn. First of all, Paul had mentioned that in order to keep me from becoming conceit, means keep me from being proud, I was given a thorn in my flesh. What is thorn in the flesh? Actually, I think this is a Greek. It means pain. It means suffering. Any of you are suffering? I think this morning I heard about there's a lot of city being locked down. We have the Wuhan lockdown, and then we heard about the whole East Italy is being locked down. And now today I heard about which city is got locked down? New York also I heard. New York being locked down. I don't know how any of you got locked down, being walled off in a place you cannot go out. You cannot go out to visit your friend. You cannot go to the dinner together. You cannot have even church service. It is one kind of suffering. There are many kinds of suffering, I'm sure, but this is just one kind of suffering. What's this? Anybody know what's this? Sea urchin. Any of you have stepped on the sea urchin? You had, how painful is it?
So painful.
Not painful?
Unbearable.
Unbearable. Okay. So every summer, there will be patients coming to the hospital. They step on the urchin, multiple of them on the feet, painful, and they require to take it one by one out. It's very painful for the patient, very painful for us also, because they break very easily. So you have to be very careful, take that out, make sure that it don't break, and then you to find the small pieces even more difficult. So I don't know any of you like being painful. Any of you like to be in pain? Nobody likes to be painful. But imagine that there's some people born without pain. In the literature, actually, there are something like over 40 people who are born with no pain sensation. Other than nice, no pain. You can cut your finger, you don't feel painful. Is it good or bad? I don't know. It may not be a good thing. Once after the Adam and Eve took the forbidden fruit, a pronouncement, a judgment came. What did it say? Curse is the ground because of you. I will produce thorn and bristle for you. Now, what is a thorn? Actually, going to the botanist, they say thorns are branches which fail to grow. So the plant's supposed to grow out of the branches and then leaves. But a thorn actually it is a branch, but it doesn't fail to grow, so it becomes very sharp and painful if you touch it. So in a way, it is God's curse that the plant, some genetic change, so the branch cannot grow anymore. It's really a kind of curse. Now, when the Israel they start to conquer the Canaan land, the God told him one thing: when you go in, you should drive out the inhabitants of the land. Those you allow to remain will become what? Bats in your eyes and thorns by your side. They will give you trouble in the land where you will live. So, but we know that Israel didn't listen to what God said. And it allowed the people to stay to continue. And so we know that at the end, they are being tempted and they start to worship the gods of these people and arouse the anger of God and gave them into the hands of the raider. And you know that they're being conquered, they're being defeated, and they lost the whole country at the end also. Okay, all right. So, thorns is a consequence of sin, or our suffering is a consequence of sin. There's many kinds of suffering we have. I mean, if you get heart attack, you know why? Probably because you don't eat properly. You eat all the fatty food, and then you get high cholesterol, and then you get heart attack. And then you don't do properly, then you might get cancer also, because sometimes because of what we do. But in the world, okay, what happened?
It's okay.
I'm going off this one. All right, okay, yeah, interference. Yeah, so there's some people, they don't born without pain, but they later on no pain sensation. Skin, different color, the same. Actually, this is a leprosy patient. You know what is leprosy? You have seen leprosy patients? Yeah, I mean, the next two pictures may be a bit horrifying for you. I mean, you're scared to, then don't look at it. Their toes become shortened. Their hands also become shortened, and a lot of ulceration. And this is because there's a kind of bacteria growing. They grow, especially they attack the nerve, so that you don't have the nerve, you don't have the sensation anymore, so you don't feel painful. And you can prick them, they don't feel the pain. The knife cut them, they don't feel it. And because of that, that's why you get damaged. Because you can leave a hot pot. I mean, you'll be feeling painful, hot. You cannot touch something like fire or the hot pot. But for them, they can take up the hot pot and don't feel any discomfort. But the heat will burn the finger. It will burn the finger and they don't know it. So to burn the finger, eventually the finger will drop off. And that's why they shorten finger, shorten toes, they step on the nail and they don't realize it. So there's a story about a real story about a leprosy patient here because of all these problems. So he can't function with the hands. He had to go to the hospital and they have operation. The surgeon give him a nice operation. For a few years he stayed at the hospital and then got recovered and he can use the hand again. So he was happy. Said, I want to go back home now. After so many years, I miss my house, I miss my family. So he went back home. And at that night, he was so happy to sleep on his own bed. And next morning, he woke up and found some blood on the bed. And he found that the finger become injury, some bite. He realized that he was bitten by a mouse, a rat, in the middle of the night, and he didn't realize it. So he was so feeling so bad. So next night, he tried to keep himself awake, read, but he was so tired that he just fell asleep. And the next morning, when he woke up, he got a burn in the hand because he didn't realize that when he slept, his hand just was touching the fire, and the fire burned his hand, and he didn't realize it. So there's trouble with the leprosy that they have no sensation. Then they end up very miserable. The Bible talk about leprosy, or symbolizing sin. For people who think that if you have leprosy, you must be a sinner, and you keep away from me. So In a way, it's very simple. It's just like leprosy. It's the bacteria slowly eat away your flesh. So sin is like leprosy. It silently eat in you, destroy yourself, destroy you, and you don't realize it. So God could especially create the pain sensation for each one of us, so that we will avoid being injured, avoid being burned. Similarly, God allows suffering for each one of us, so that we can remember the curse of sin. We realize that we will not go astray. Paul said, do not withhold discipline from a child. I mean, many of you have children, you have to discipline them. You punish them, well, they will not die. You won't kill your son. But then punish them the rod and save them from death. Because without discipline, a child can go astray. As we see a lot of cases, the children that's gone astray because they don't have discipline in the family. So, thorn is for our good. Suffering is for our good. We heard about we have the story about David. David had been suffered a lot, being chased by King Saul. I mean, at last, he overcome and he became the king. Once he became the king, he doesn't need to, he can sleep in a nice palace, nice bed, eating nice food. And so when his soldiers go for war, fighting, he can still stay in the palace and enjoy life. And know what happened? Then when you enjoy life, you have too much time, then you start doing the silly things. And with the result that he had commit adultery, and then he killed the husband also. Easy life, a lot of like to have easy life. You don't need to work, you can enjoy food, good food, but easy life is dangerous for each one of us. Compare with disaster, prosperity and rich is a better test for our character. When you are under stress, when you're under a lot of pressure, sometimes you can sleep stronger. But once you relax, once everything seems to smooth, very easy, we become go to astray. There's a proverb saying what? Power corrupt. When you have power, when you are authority, you tend to corrupt. You become bribery, you receive bribery, you can do all kinds of things for your selfish reason. So prosperity and rich is a test of our character. The best way to weaken and destroy the church is to remove from her the obstacle and challenge. You know, there's a lot of places, when the church is under persecution, there's no freedom of worship. The church usually become pure and strong faith. And they worship, all the church members are really diligently study Bible. But in the city, when you have everything, you have freedom to worship, you have freedom of doing whatever you like. Usually, you find the church become very lax. The church become weak. No life in the church. I mean, that happens in a lot of churches nowadays. The church become very worldly. So suffering is good for the church, not just good for each one of us. Life without challenge will ultimately perish. Yes. Each one of us. It's only when we go through trial, when we have a lot of suffering, then we become stronger. If your life has been always smooth, no failure, you will end up very weak. We always describe some of the children now as a made of glass. You know, glass, drop in the floor, what happened? It will break very easily. I mean, some of the children, they can't stand even you scold them for one sentence. They will cry, they will break down. They can't stand being failed. So, challenge is very important. Suffering is important for our life, each one of us. It was good for me to be afflicted so that I might learn your decree. Psalm, David says, Solomon says so. Thorn, we suffer, we have any suffering, it led us to go back to God. When we are smooth, we tend to forget about our Savior. Our same text again, it's because of suffering, because of thorns. That's why it can humble us to realize we need to depend on God every day, all the time. Crisis can make us either strong or else depressed. When you're under stress, when you're under some obstacles, some people will give up easily. Some people will get depressed. Some people will continue to struggle to try to get over it. And then so, which one you are? You'll be stronger or you'll be weaker. You'll be depressed or you will make you more work harder. Many times, God allows us to go into the spiritual wilderness so that we can be in a better fighting condition. What is your spiritual wilderness? It can be financial crisis. It can be health problems. You may be lost your loved ones. You might be failed in your work. You can be scolded by people, deserted by your friends. So it can be many things. Each one of us have our spiritual wilderness. But go through this, you can keep yourself strong, trusting in God, then you can be strong at the end. Consider it pure joy, my brother and sister, whenever you face trial of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. That's, yeah, everyone, every Christian especially, we need to have suffering. We need to have obstacle so that we can be stronger, in fact. Moses, remember in the wilderness, was taking care of the sheep for 40 years. And one day, the Lord appeared to him, what? The flame of fire within the bush. And Moses saw that the bush was on fire, and it did not burn up. Now, many people are talking, what kind of bush it is? Actually, in the Palestine area, there are over 170 types of all these kind of thorns and bristle and bush. They say probably Moses was seeing this bush, this kind of plant. They grow up to 20 meters high, and they have thorns which can be up to 3 inches long, with spines, and they bear flowers, yellow flowers, very beautiful flowers also. But with the hot weather in Palestine, they can catch fire very easily. So once in a while, it's not unusual that this bush will catch fire without any reason, not because somebody set the fire. It just because of the heat, it catch fire, and the fire will burn the whole bush away. So fire in the bush is nothing unusual. The unusual thing is what? The bush was on fire. It did not burn up. A bush that was on catch fire, but doesn't burn. But burn up the whole bushes. That's the phenomenon. That's the thing that, God appeared to Moses in bush of fire. God had appeared different times to different people. For example, like God appeared with a man struck and wrestling with Jacob. God has appeared to Joseph in the dream. God has appeared to Daniel in vision. And God has appeared, talked to Samuel in the small while he was sleeping. And then and God also talked to Abraham in Elijah in a still small voice. So God had appeared to people in different ways. At this time, he said you need that Moses face God in the fire. And this is an experience that Moses had remembered all his life. So at the end of his life, he said, God is a God who dwells in the burning bush. What does it mean? God is a God who dwells in the burning bush. Imagine suffering, sin, fire. What fire can represent trial, temptation also. So if for us, many times we might face trial, sufferings. We have lost money, we have lost health, lost our loved ones, and some of them are so strong, if overwhelmed. When some of us maybe so overwhelmed by this kind of suffering and disaster that we think that we cannot live anymore. But you can get over it if God dwells in you. So the God that dwells in the burning bush is a God that dwells on each one of us. When you are facing trial, when you're facing sufferings, remember if God walks beside you, nothing can overcome you. Or whatever how great the storm is, you can overcome. Amen. And that's the Moses, the God that dwells in the burning bush. That's why Paul said, who shall separate us from the love of God? Trouble, hardship, persecution, famine, nakedness, danger, or sword? No, in all these things, we are more than conquerors through Him who loves us. And before Jesus was crucified, the Roman soldier, they used thorns to make a crown and put it on the head of Jesus, another kind of torture. But without knowing it, actually, the Roman soldier are fulfilling a prophecy, fulfilling a very important symbolic things. Thorn is the curse, so it's the result of suffering. So by laying a crown of thorn on Jesus, actually they are doing the thing that all the world's sin is laid on the head of Jesus. Jesus bears us all the suffering, all the sin that we have done or committed. And the crown of thorn, Jesus gone through it, He suffered for us, but He resurrected. And He received the crown of glory. Amen. And each one of us, at the end, when Jesus comes again, we will have the crown of righteousness. Each one of us will receive a crown of righteousness from Jesus. And also we'll sing a song, a new song. No one could learn the song except the 144,000 people who have been redeemed from the earth. And what is the name of the song? It's called the Song of Moses. The song of the suffering, the song of the deliverance, the song of victory over sin, victory over all the suffering, all our deficiency, all shortcomings. This is a song that only you can understand. Only all those who have gone through the suffering or gone through all these trials, you can only understand how it feels like. Just like as a cake, I can tell you how nice the cake is, how beautiful, sweet, and tasteful. But if you don't taste it, you never understand how the cake is like, how good it is. The same thing, only each one of us have gone through all the trials or gone through all the suffering can understand how it is the song of Moses. And in the heaven, no longer will people of Israel have names who are painful, right, and sharp thorns. Then they will know that I am the sovereign God. So in heaven, we will have no more thorns. Thorns is a creation after the temptation. So God did not create thorns and beginning, and God will remove thorns when we are in heaven again. Therefore, in order to keep me from becoming proud, Paul say, I was given a thorn in my flesh to torment me. Each one of us, if you face temptation, you face trial. Remember, Paul had the same experience. Many people have gone through the experience, but Jesus said, "What? My grace." Let us read together.
My grace is sufficient for you,
For my power is made perfect in weakness. This is why, for Christ's sake, Paul say again, I delight in weakness, in insults, in hardship, in persecution, in difficulty. For when I'm weak, I'm strong. There's a poem, a beautiful poem. It said, I have been grateful all along with the rose that was bestowed, but not once for the thorns. Many times we don't even feel very thankful, very thankful for people. But we are thankful. We always thankful. Oh, we got promotion. We succeeded. We have a good family. A good grade for school. So always grateful for a lot of the roles. But have we ever any times grateful for the suffering? Grateful for the thorns that comes into life. I have all along longing for the reward of my cross in heaven, not realizing that cross bearing now actually is my glory. The cross, the sacrifice. I don't realize all along, waiting for the reward of our suffering. We want to have it in heaven. Don't realize that actually the suffering that we bear now is our glory. May thou guide me to see the glory of the cross, the value of the thorn, the value of suffering. Teach me to walk the road of suffering that leads to dying, that my tear will turn into rainbow. A beautiful poem for each one of us to remember when you are in trouble, when you are in severe headache. There's a girl. She wrote a lot of songs, Blessed Assurance, and many songs in our hymnals also. Her name is called Fanny Crosby. Anybody knows anybody? Fanny Crosby. She was blind. She born was nice, just like a healthy baby. At the age of 5 weeks, she got some eye infection, and the doctor, who was a quack, gave her the wrong treatment, and resulting that she was totally blind for the rest of her life. But she didn't give up. She was very hardworking. She learned to read. She learned to write poem also. So this is one of her poem. I have been careful of cultivating a sunny disposition. I made up my mind years ago that I would never become a disagreeable old woman. Many times when we have suffering, we grumble, we murmur, we blame people, all kinds of things. It's not my fault, it's their fault, it's somebody's fault. I mean, we blame for everything there. that I don't know, any of us want to be a disagreeable old woman. Had it not been for my affliction, I might not have so good an education or have so great an influence, and certainly not so fine a memory. When you're blind, you don't see. So you're actually, the people will become more sharp. Their touch sensation, their hearing, everything's become more acute, much better than each one of us here. And here, you have a good memory because you cannot see, you can concentrate on learning, you can concentrate on remember things much better. I might not have sung hymns to the praise of God if I have been distracted by the beautiful and interesting things about me. See, our eyes look around, we see a lot of good things, we watch TV, we like to look at internet, Facebook, all these things. So a lot of distraction. Sometimes we cannot concentrate because of you reading your Facebook, then you cannot do your work, function properly also. So without the eyes, she can concentrate on things more important. It seems intended by the blessed providence of God that I should be blind all my life, and I thank Him for the dispensation. Have you been thankful that you're blind? Thankful that you cannot walk, you cannot jump? Thankful that you are not so beautiful? Thankful that you don't have a good education or money like the other people?
Yes.
But thank God for that. Can you be able to say so? If perfect earthly sight were offered me tomorrow, I would not accept it. She's blind. I'm sure a lot of people, when you're blind, you really want to see. But for her, she would rather not have the eyesight. She will not accept it because blind make her more beautiful, make her more educated. Oh, what a happy soul I am. Although I cannot see, I am resolved that in these blessings I enjoy, that other people don't. To weep and sigh because I'm blind, I cannot, and I won't. Can anyone do that? That shall ever gladden my sight to be that of my Savior.
Amen.
You never seen something, you never see the beauty, the color, and then when you get to heaven, open your eyes, and you can see the green, yellow, brown, purple, all the beautiful colors, and see the first thing here. Though our crosses oft may seem severe,
Think of the joy when trials are past. Strong in the Lord, we shall conquer at last.
Blessed assurance. It's going to be our closing song. So God is our blessed assurance, because we know that when we're up in heaven, there will be no more
curse, no more thorns.
It will be a happy day. But right now we're still in the earth. We will still have the thorns. We will still have the coronavirus. We will still have a lot of disease. But pray that we can be strong and get through all these trials and temptation.
Amen.